We get into the news review. It's brought to us by Syntex Tank, you're strong, you're tough, and Access Bank, more than banking.
All right, let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Stable power supply assured. So President John Mahama has assured Ghanaians that his administration is working tirelessly to ensure a stable power supply, pledging to prevent the intermittent power outages being experienced in the country. He says, so there is a threat of power outages, but my brothers and sisters, don't despair. Like I said, you elected us to solve your problems and not to put the blame on anybody. And so he says he is working on fixing this looming problem.
I like that.
But he's got goodwill, right? Because
he has goodwill.
There
but
are
also,
people who are committed to helping us.
No, but you see, also contrary to a lot of what his ministers have done, and they should take a cue from this. The president is saying leaders solve problems; they don't explain them. So he says, "Don't despair. I will solve it. You voted me into office to solve problems, and that's how a leader behaves. Okay, so let's solve the problem. That's why you're there."
Yeah, but before you solve the problem, you also have a duty to explain to the people what it is
you
that
can explain whatever you want to explain.
You've inherited.
At the end of the day, but that's actually, see, whatever problem you've inherited. Why, you think we didn't know there were problems in this country and voted you into office? We knew and voted you into office. What President Mahama is doing is that we must move on. We must elevate our politics from the politics of you two. Every day, you two. And so we don't develop in this country. Because go and complain about poor macroeconomic indicators. But when you are in government, what did you do? You are in government, fix it.
So, Mama V, are you saying you wanted John Mahama to tell us that the problem was caused by
but his people
Akufo-Addo?
his people have already explained what they came to inherit.
So I'm asking you, is that what you had wanted to hear from him yesterday?
No.
Okay. Then we
I
are all
haven't
on the
said
same
that.
page. No, you're saying that he owes a duty to
No,
explain
I'm saying
to
that the
us.
administration does, and that's exactly what they've done. First, they told us what the problem was, and now he's telling us what he intends doing.
All right. Okay.
All right, back to other stories. Zoom Lion maintains clean streets after presidential inauguration. We're told that they received some praise from Ghanaians for that. President names
No, the story is
first
saying that
batch.
Zoom Lion maintained clean streets and that they have received praise from Ghanaians. The Ghanaians on social media, or they were on radio, or they were on TV praising Zoom Lion for cleaning the streets, a job that we have given them, right?
In fact, that's exactly what I said. I was like, well, but you're paid to do this, so what's exceptional?
Well,
But it's a story in the paper.
Ghanaians are always very impressed with people doing their work very well.
All right, President names first batch of ministers and then close senior high schools to address feeding other issues. I know these are two issues that you want to have a say on. So first, the National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations has called for the closure of senior high schools until the issue of feeding and other pressing matters are addressed. We have a National Council of Parent-Teacher Association?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. And then
No,
of
I don't
course-
get you. Oh, okay. You are just realizing that they exist or something.
because I thought that we left the P out of the assessociation. Parents were no longer.
No, the teachers were no longer
part of
actually.
the
Yeah.
teachers.
We took the teachers out. So, but then everybody knows them as PTA. So,
Yes.
But today the teachers are not part. There's the parent associations, not the teachers. They're not part of it. Yeah.
But it's too late. I mean, the schools have reopened already.
Well, they can still go back.
Schools are the children. I mean, I think we should find a way of getting them food. That's the basic
We're told
thing.
that some releases were made yesterday when we spoke to Kofi Asare. He indicated that releases were. But for me, this is the point.
But again, the Charles people say that's a drop in the ocean.
Yes, but this is the point for me. This is the point. Look, the people who are managing the schools told you the problems they are faced with. I am in the school as a headmaster, and I say I do not have food. You're supposed to supply me food, and you say I have enough, so I should open the school. Sometimes I do not understand what our problems are. Look, whatever the situation is, all major actors in this country agree that free SHS is here to stay. I have a position which I wish the current government would implement. I do not see in God's name why people who can afford will not pay their fees. I do not, in God's name, understand. Even the developed world's economies do not pay boarding fees. I mean, for people to go to school, unless you're on scholarship or you want to go to a private institution and you pay your boarding fees, then a third world like Ghana decides that we're going to pay boarding fees, which we're unable to pay. So, look.
And we are pretending to pay.
We are pretending to pay. Look, I mean.
Now we've been exposed.
So, I say, but again, if I were the if I were President Mahama, I would tell Ghanaians that, look, you have told me, a lot of Ghanaians would agree with him that they should be made to pay their war school fees, particularly for boarding fees. A lot of Ghanaians would admit that those who cannot afford, give them scholarships. It's as simple as that. Why don't we have LEAP? Is it not targeted? That we want to pump every money into something that at the end of the day, even the basic things such as food cannot be supplied to children.
Because, I mean, the people, they know that you are planning your child's nutrition basically with the thinking that the school will give the child very little. Yes, that's the kind of thing you're planning when you're going to senior high school. You plan, in fact, for even some of the groceries you are buying, you are doing it per day, sometimes even per meal. So you get the point. So it's not something strange that you are operating, except that people stop talking about, because the people we are dealing with on the matter, they are not willing to listen to you. So people moved on with their lives. They basically say, okay, well, you continue pretending that you are delivering everything and everything's okay, and let's see what happens subsequently. But now that there's a new government, now that they have an opportunity to really look at every element of this, we can come to the table, which they say, even for the feeding, this is government's contribution to it. I hope you get the point. Government is paying, if it takes, say, 3,000 cedi to feed the child per term, which will be small. Because, in all fairness, if your child is sitting at home, you know how much it will cost to actually feed that child. But if it takes 3,000 cedis to feed a child, government is willing to give 1,000. The parent can bring in the 2,000 that's required. I really think it can solve this problem without we going back and forth and pretending that guaranteeing somebody secondary education has everything to do with what food they eat at what time. And that's the most important thing. We should stop reducing an entire educational plan to the food part, which is to me problematic. And even though that's a chunk of the budget, if it's a problem, let's find ways of fixing it so that we can continue and be rest assured we are delivering quality education and preparing the kids for a competitive world.
Yeah.
So that we do not create a society where there are the Roman rages of this world, and also other schools we used to respect have been reduced to nothing at the end of the day. Let's not create that society. We can still maintain it. We can still improve upon the elements that are involved. But somebody ought to let go of this fanciful feeling that I pretend everything is paid for, when we all know that's not the case.
Okay.
And we keep doing this to ourselves. Oh, and I heard a former spokesperson of Educhum. Yes. Speaking as if the child's leadership, what they're saying is 1, inaccurate, 2, they do not know what they are talking about, and 3, they have become partisan people. He said they speak like he said they speak like they are NDC. I mean, you think about it all. This gentleman, not long ago, a couple of days ago, was in charge of the communication for the ministry. It is the same talk they have had for God knows how long. But it's not a problem. The only thing you get to know is take your ministers, take your government officials, senior ones there, ask how many of them have their kids in these schools, and will be willing to subject them to the kind of food that they are provided in some of these schools. Anyway.
All right. One more story. You want to say something?
No, go on.
All right. Côte d'Ivoire. Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has suggested he's open to running for another term, though his party has not made a formal decision for the upcoming 2025 election. So this is what he says: I am in good health. He's 83, by the way. I am in good health and eager to continue serving my country. And then he says that he's going to step down. The only way his desire to step down would be if others, his long-time political rivals, also retire from politics.
So let's leave the blog for the young people.
So this guy.
You know,
So
it's not so funny. I mean, I think this mentality, this coming from a guy who actually fought for the position, who's been through a lot, and the country's been through a lot, and people felt he was a serious Democrat by all standards and qualifications. How they degenerate? It's just like the Guinea guy. Some people respected the professor.
Alpha Conde.
Yes, by all standards and qualifications. Then the guy all of a sudden becomes some other person. He wants a third term. Then everybody's watching, especially the regional bodies. They'll be watching nicely. They end up destroying every fiber of the country's democratic principle, despite the fact that the ECOWAS protocol on good governance and democracy says you should not be doing these things. And yeah, that's fine.
They'll
but
go after
when
the
there's an
coup makers,
intervention, then they rally. The same group of people will go and say somewhere, we don't allow unconstitutional removal of governments.